Hey, what's up, Heel Click? I know it's been a long while since I posted a YouTube video, but here I am, back, ready to post some content for you guys. And as you can see, we're on a pretty nice fancy camera. I've been using this on my Twitch stream as well. So if you haven't followed me on Twitch, the link is down in the description below. I live react to Monday Night Raw, NXT, Dynamite, Impact, and SmackDown, as well as pay-per-views. I'll be live for In Your House this Sunday, so make sure you follow me up on the Twitch. Now you're asking, Josh, what is this video about? Now this video is about something that happened yesterday. There was an In Your House conference call that was hosted by Triple H answering questions from the media. So typically when we have a takeover, we are going to always have a takeover conference call the week of that event. Triple H had a conference call and usually they're awesome. He really gives some awesome answers and we have fun times and they usually last, I believe, about an hour. Now, there was some questions asked to Triple H in this conference call that his answers ended up being a little bit controversial, and I'm going to discuss my thoughts on his statements made towards a few questions asked. I got some of the questions pulled up here from the conference call to Triple H. So one of the things that he was asked was, regarding some NXT talent not working out on the main roster, Triple H says, it's like sports. Some talent work out to their potential, others don't. There are varying circumstances. He talks about if NXT is a developmental or a third brand now. He says that 3 to 4 years ago into NXT, a heavy knock was that the talent didn't spend long there before moving on. Says the brand has changed to a place where some talent will be there for a long time. Now, the reason I make the response to the is because I only feel like a few people that happened to, or they went from NXT to whatever, Raw, SmackDown, way too early when it was considered the developmental brand. And that's Apollo is one I could think off the top of my head. I thought Apollo Crews didn't really get a lot of time in NXT, and it took him a little bit longer than usual to adapt to the main roster than I feel some if he would have got more time in NXT. Who knows where he would have been a few years ago if he would have stayed in NXT, somehow maybe won the NXT World title and then went up to the main roster. Maybe his career trajectory would have been different, but hey, he's actually doing really well for himself right now on SmackDown. I love his gimmick. I don't like the accent, but the only person I could think of that maybe went up too early from NXT to the main roster was Nia Jax. Nia did spend a decent amount of time in NXT, more than Apollo, I would think, but I still feel like she just wasn't ready to go to the main roster, to Raw or SmackDown at the time. But you know, she was a different look. You know, her theme song, she's not like most girls. She's a taller, bigger set woman, and she's, you know, she has a different look, and I feel they were looking to bring that in over, and her character over her in-ring work or her mic work. She's improved though, not as much as we would have liked. But let's get back to the first one I said about talent not working out on the main roster. Now that has varying factors. Triple H does touch on those varying factors, saying stuff like this. This is what he answered to Dave Meltzer, that not everyone works out in a certain place. There are a variety of factors that might lead to talent working out: schedule, coaches, performance. I agree with that. So definitely look at someone like Ty Conti, who was on the NXT roster. They didn't use at least that much on TV. I mean, she was in, I think, maybe 2 of the Mae Young Classics. She would come in and when basically as an enhancement talent for when new people came in to put them over. She did get some wins here and there, you know, but nothing that is, you know, stood out as like, wow, they're really gonna start pushing her on. Sometimes she looked very uncomfortable. I thought in NXT just didn't look like she felt comfortable with the matches or her skill set. I don't know exactly what it was. I don't know if it was self-confidence. But now in AEW, I feel like she's drastically improved. And it's not, I'm not knocking NXT or the Performance Center or the coaching. I don't know who she was working with. It was you know, I mean, Sarah Del Rey, I believe. Fix me in the comments if I'm wrong here. Correct me. I believe is the main women's coach, but we have a variety of coaches working with the women. It just depends, you know, same with the men in NXT, you know, not everyone's working with Shawn Michaels or Matt Bloom, you know, some are working with Robbie Brookside, some may be working with Shawn and Bloom or whoever, you know, they all do different things. We don't know what does what, really, we don't know that. So I agree with Triple H to that. So Ty Conti going to AEW, that maybe just the surrounding people there, the coaching that she needed was there, and it helped her immensely. So I agree with Triple H on that. But when it comes to WWE on the main roster, I mean, at that point, I feel like when you go from NXT to the main roster, you're still going to be training probably at the PC to an extent. But you got like people like, let's talk about the people going up early. Dabba-Kato, Omos. I mean, Omos I don't think ever had a televised NXT match, but yet he's now on the main roster as tag team champion with AJ, and I just don't think he doesn't look good in the ring. Dabba-Kato is another person, or what is he now, Commander Aziz. I mean, we saw him, I think, originally in the Greatest Royal Rumble as Babatunde, right? And this guy you know, is a big guy. He's 6 whatever, probably almost 7 feet, if not over 7 feet. Same with Omos. I think Omos is built at 7'2", 7'3". These guys are humongous, but I just feel like they're guys that went up too early, and they're just it's just gonna lead to them not succeeding on the main roster. Vince loves, or so we hear, and we know. Vince likes the big guys, right? But you let Braun go. Like, that's the problem. They're having a hard time building talent here. We see people like Andrade and you know, Alistair and all these guys getting released. Braun. I mean, how do you release Braun? Your guys' own homegrown talent. That I was enjoying him. Like, there was a time in, what was it, 2017, when he was going up against Brock. A lot of the fans were behind Braun defeating Brock and winning the title. WWE is more of a, yeah, the scenarios, blah, blah, blah. But when you get up to the main roster, the factors come into booking and how you're doing your show. And let's get back into that now, because there's a statement later on here that really got controversial. This is where he tells the fans just to watch NXT and decide if you like it or don't. Don't watch it, or tells them to watch it or don't. Says the fans ruin things half the time by being overly critical. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Says he wants NXT to be long term. So just watch it. It's basically back to the thing. If you don't like something, don't watch it. We've heard it been said by, you know, the wrestling guys, Alvarez, and you know, we've heard it from Triple H himself. You know, that's, I mean, not wrong. If you don't like something, don't watch it. But when you enjoy something so much, like professional wrestling, the WWE specifically, they make movies, and it's a quote from Vince McMahon himself. They're in it. They're not in the pro wrestling business. They're in the sports entertainment business. They try to avoid the word pro wrestling most of the time until it's Hall of Fame season, and WrestleMania season. But they don't call them wrestlers. They don't say, oh, this is a great wrestling match. They just say match. So this company wants me to focus on their stories they're telling, but they don't want me to be critical of the stories they're telling. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too hard into this, but like, you're telling me to not be overly critical. I guess NXT, you could say, is more of a wrestling show than it is, but you gotta admit, look at what we're seeing. $1 Million Man, the whole vignettes. Hilarious stuff. We have a lot of character work being built. Raquel is finally starting to get a little bit of character work. It's about building characters, I feel, more than building wrestlers. They teach them wrestling, but in the long term for the WWE, it's about characters and stories. And I just find it so odd that he's going to tell us, don't be overcritical, just watch it or don't. But at the same time, I guess NXT is a third brand anymore. It's not really developmental, at least the NXT show. I mean, we got the PC or the CWC now. And there's been the rumors of NXT Evolve basically being that developmental show. So if NXT is not your developmental place before they move on, I mean, NXT, he says in this, let me see, the brand has changed to a place where some talent will be there for a long time. Which we've seen. We've seen Cole, Ciampa, Gargano, all these guys have been there for 4+ years now. I mean, we've seen people in the past be there a long time, but at least as a mainstay character, these guys are the longest of the long that we've seen last on these shows. But the fact that you're building a soap opera, which is, back in the day, wrestling was a male soap opera. That's what everyone called it back in the 80s, 90s, I believe. And you know, I remember growing up as a kid, as soon as I hit like probably 5th grade or middle school, everyone, wrestling's fake. You know, at the time, you're like, yeah, I know. Like, you know, you're still you enjoy entertainment, and that's what they are, sports entertainment. And okay, yeah, if I don't like it, then don't watch, sure. But I like professional wrestling. I love the way they presented sports entertainment. Every TV show, you know, every movie, there's critics out there. You're telling your fans to not criticize your product. Just don't criticize our product. Just don't watch it then if you want to criticize. Like, what? Everything gets criticized. It's funny how people tell you to not criticize something before either something is completed or a story is finished or a match is done. When something's bad, it's okay to call it out while it's happening. And a good example for that was for WrestleMania. I loved the build-up for, this is me personally, a lot of people didn't enjoy this, but I loved the build of Randy, Fiend, Alexa going into WrestleMania. I thought it told a fun story. It was really out there, but I didn't feel like it was too out there. It was pretty out there, but then the match happened, and I think the majority of fans agree it just fell flat again. like their other WrestleMania match, and the ending with Alexa coming out of the box and essentially distracting the Fiend, which eventually just led to them the next night on Raw all acknowledging that they were done with each other, basically, and then the Fiend hasn't been on TV since. There's been tons of rumors of why that's been. I'm not going to get into details of that, but I was criticizing the story, and people were like, oh, it's obviously not over, because it felt like they left it on a cliffhanger. People were telling me on social media, oh, it's not over, you can't criticize it yet, it's not over. We're in June, and we haven't seen the Fiend since the night after WrestleMania. So I feel like it's a good example of why people are like, you can't judge it, just wait. Well, I've been waiting, man. But Triple H, I don't know, you'll never watch this video, but man, there's always going to be criticism from us fans, from, you know, that's what you guys got right now. The Mark comments, I don't even remember the year, but he said, me and my friend Mark are going to stop watching. And you could just keep saying it's all TV ratings are declining. Oh, it's the NBA playoffs. There's factors. Playoffs ratings have declined. But the fact that in, I think, 4 years, we went from an averaging of 4 million on Raw when you said that comment to barely averaging 2. You could say COVID was a factor. I think these numbers were bound to happen regardless of any pandemic. I don't know much about TV ratings, and I know WWE is the most profitable that it's been at the moment. I just feel like your fans right now are the ones that are criticizing you. That's the ones that are paying attention to the shows week in and week out. The hardcores. There's going to be the casuals, I feel like, that are, but it's not like it used to be, buddy. And if you can't take criticism, man, I don't know what to tell you. But that's my thoughts on this whole shenanigans. There was also some statements about the NWA's all-women's pay-per-view, which I don't feel like really getting into because I feel like both sides on those statements kind of worded their responses weird. But guys, if you want more videos like this, please like and comment down below, and I'll catch you next time.